Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth challenge of the Children's Day event, which is Horror House. And horror is right because this challenge is really annoying. And as you can see, I have brought S behind. I know that's kind of cheating with the limitations I usually place on myself, but I really couldn't figure out any other way to do this other than having S behind with me. I did try doing this with normal Hein. Now, as you're going to see, I'm going to use Hein to kite the guys at the top, plus Sherry, which is something that normal Hein can do as well. But the big problem with bringing normal Hein here is that his damage output is too low, and if I use normal Hein, I wouldn't be able to do enough damage to Elwyn, or more importantly, do enough damage to Geyer. That's actually the bigger issue, and I would actually time out if I use normal Hein here. So, while Hein's going to be taking care of Elwyn, Geyer, and Sherry on the top there, I'm going to need to take out Egbert first here, because Egbert is actually probably the most threatening unit on this entire map. Egbert can actually one-shot like half my team with 1 AoE, which is really annoying. And it was just so annoying to come up with a way to deal with this Egbert that I tried using Oliver at first, and it didn't go very well because Oliver was RNG because I had to use Demon Hunters. And then I just realized, like, wait, I could just use Narm. And Narm, so I went and bought Narm's special equipment, the Valkyrie Pulsar. She's actually wearing a level 20 helm, but that's fine because the Valkyrie Pulsar has the cooldown reduction effect at level 20 already, so I didn't need to level it up beyond its base level. So now I'm just going to stick there and just keep Egbert in place the entire time. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to fight all the other units. And as you can see, well, this is going to be like a 25-minute video. You're going to see my damage output is really the biggest issue here. It's not too hard to actually just survive this map, as long as your stats are there, but it's just very annoying to get the DPS check, especially if you're limiting yourself to the units that I'm using. So if I had access to maybe like a tank that can counter damage a lot more, then maybe I could skip on S behind, and because I'd be able to kill the enemies at the bottom faster and then go join up with Hein afterwards and finish off the rest of the enemies. But since I don't have that option, I'm gonna have to rely a lot on Grenier using Power Staff to up his attack, which is it's okay, but it's not gonna help him a lot. I mean, I don't have Grenier's helm. That might have helped, although only a limited amount, because the problem with Grenier's helm is that instead of giving defense, it gives magic defense, which is just really bad. It doesn't power up. It doesn't increase his power stab damage at all. And more importantly, it makes him worse at tanking, which is actually a big deal because these enemies hit really hard. So I have a lot of defense stack. I stacked a ton of defense on Grenier, so you can see that I have 1200 defense here. All that defense is going to be very important because he's going to have to take lots of hits in a row. And even though I have Melania, I can't always have my team line up in a way so that Melania is getting attacked. So I want to be able to limit the amount of damage Grenier takes. And since everything here, pretty much everything here is physical threat, then Grenier can just tank just fine. Obviously, I could have brought someone like Vargas to tank physical even better, but since I brought so many glory units, it makes sense to bring Grenier so we can buff them all. So on the note of Melania, Melania here is casting Divine Appointment, and that allows me to keep 2 ranged guard pretty much the whole time, which is really important because these guys run all around, all over the place, and I want to be able to hit them and not have to get into a stupid plus sign symbol whenever the guard drops. And the sidebar is not deceiving you. This is indeed a 2-star Melania, because I'm really lazy and I haven't done the story missions for a long time. But 2-star Melania works just fine because her talent healing multiplier doesn't change with her star level. So basically the only thing that changes is her stats and her intelligence increase, which is still a big deal because if you look at her stats, they're pretty bad. But for these purposes, she's gonna work just fine. So I just took out the first Egbert life. Like I said, Egbert is the biggest problem in terms of damage. So I need to just lock him in place with Narm and just kill him as fast as possible. Meanwhile, you can see that I'm using Matthew to start attacking McAvoy there. And the reason for that is because McAvoy is really annoying if you leave him around too long. So if you leave McAvoy around too long, he's just going to heal himself from his on death activation. He's kind of like Yusuke, where his range and damage all go up whenever you kill somebody. And that just makes it more and more annoying to kill him the longer the fight goes on. I mean, it does wear off after a while, but it just wastes so much time, and it's much easier for me to just kill McAvoy right now so I don't have to worry about it later. Same thing goes with Bladen. Like, Bladen is really tanky, and I'm going to want to kill him whenever I get the opportunity. D-Heart is a complete non-issue because D-Heart is just he's gonna constantly use 1000 Hooves and Smash, and that is pretty much the only reason I'm bringing Melania, because there's no way for me to avoid getting debuffed by Smash. There is Mass Resist does not prevent the Smash guard disable, so my only choice was to bring a Gospel of some kind, and the only Gospel that is available among the SR characters is Melania. Which is why I'm using Melania here instead of one of the healers you more often see me using, which is probably Sophia. Like, Sophia would actually be a lot better here if I just wanted healing power. Not only that, she would actually increase Grenier's defense even higher, and he would be able to counter for more damage. But since I can't do that, you know, I need to bring Gospel because D-Heart's an asshole. So I'm stuck with Melania, who is actually a really terrible healer. She has nothing but single target heals. She doesn't heal for all that much. Her only claim to fame is her Gospel and the fact that she has that a point Guardian Seal, which are pretty useful here. But you know, in order to pump up her healing power, of course, I'm wearing Twilight Guard on her. I'm also wearing a Juggler plushie, which actually extends the length of both her Gospel and her Divine Appointment skill, so it works pretty well on her. So, aside from McAvoy and Leda, who take 10 million hits to kill, although I already took care of McAvoy once, so I don't need to really worry about him anymore. On this map, the goal is to kill all of the enemies at least once. All of them will respawn once, so you only need to kill all of them twice if you want them to be gone forever. Which is why I'm wasting my time with Narm killing Egbert there, because if they spawn endlessly, then I don't think this map would actually be possible with SR characters. Now, the second time they spawn, they actually lose a lot of their immunities, which is very useful if you have certain characters. But since the units that I brought were very specific, I couldn't really bring anybody else. So Matthew, of course, is brought because he's just a good DPS for PvE, and I'm on SRs and lower units. Like I said, Melania is here because she's the only one that can Gospel Grenier, and I have no space for a second healer because this map only allows 5 units, which is very annoying. If I was allowed at 6 units, this would be much easier. So that leaves with a tank. Tank, of course, I picked Grenier, like I said, because he has the glory buff. Narm is here to lock down a bunch of enemies, and of course Hein is up there, still kiting those enemies. So those enemies up top that Hein is kiting, the Elwyn only takes damage from AoE basically, and if you try to single target attack him, he has a 100% chance to kill you instantly. It actually says that in one of his skills. Geyer only takes damage if somebody is within 2 spaces of him. Otherwise, he's just like an infantry enemy, and he has Sword Soul, so of course you don't want to get near him. Sherry stuns you anytime she does damage to you, which is yet another reason why I had to bring Gospel. Of course, stun can be blocked by both Mass Resist and Yggdrasil Wreath or Sage's Hat, but like I said, because D-Heart came with Smash, I have to bring someone with Gospel to take care of all of it. So you can see here that, since I already killed McAvoy once, I want to avoid attacking McAvoy as much as possible. And obviously the way to do that is just attack McAvoy so Layden will guard him. The rest of the map is going to be kind of boring. I mean, I think I've already explained pretty much everything there is to say about this map, so it's really just a boring tank and spank from here on out. I'm just going to lead those guys up top, and I'm going to need to, I'm going to be using Hein to chip away at Geyer here. And the reason I'm doing that to Geyer and not Sherry is because Geyer has 3 revives, and you need to get rid of all of them before you can kill him for real, which is just really, really annoying. It all contributes to the seemingly generous but actually very tight 25 turn limit that this map has, at least if you use the units that I'm using. Now, if I had access to SSR characters, then this map has so many ways for you to just make it a lot easier. Of course, for AoEs, you can be someone like Shelfenil or Lambda. They would probably be able to do way more AoE damage and take care of Ellen very quickly. Geyer is annoying, regardless of who you bring, because Sword Soul is just annoying. Okay, so now D-Heart is dead for the 2nd time, so he's not going to be spawning anymore. You notice that I didn't really spend any time attacking D-Heart because obviously since Grenier is a Lancer and I have been putting up Power Stab as much as I can, so Grenier did a pretty good job of just countering the guy to death. So as far as another SSR that will make this Eaters up, of course, if I had Leiden or Albedo, who have really high counter damage, they would obviously really lower the DPS requirements I'm running into on this map. So Egbert is gone now, so I just have to kill Leiden and Luna once. There's not much to say about Leiden other than the fact that he's just really tanky. But he doesn't really do anything super annoying, so he's not too bad. Luna is actually a little bit annoying because aside from doing a lot of damage herself, she gets a stacking buff every turn that does have a time limit, but it increases her damage dealt and reduces her damage taken from range attacks. So it actually makes her take less damage from archers over time. This will not happen if she has at least 2 enemies next to her, which is why you see me getting in this formation where I make sure Melania is next to her, so she will try to attack Melania, which will trigger Grenier's healing. And I have to put someone else next to her, and in this case it's Matthew. So since the AI prioritizes attacking 2 range units that they're nearest to, as a general rule, I mean there are some tiebreakers sometimes, but that's the general rule, so I have lined up in a way so that she will almost always attack Melania, and since Matthew is also there, she has 2 enemies next to her, so she will not get her stacking buff. So here, I'm just doing more Leiden killing. So this is the annoying thing about McAvoy and Leiden, even after you kill them once, it's that when they respawn, they're still going to be guarding their allies, which is just makes it a lot harder for you to kill them. But I have lined them up in a way so that Luna is only getting guarded by one of them. So all I have to do is disable the guy's guard, and notably, pretty much every enemy on this map is not immune rather to Moby down. So I can just use Narm to just lock him down, and I can just start attacking Luna now. So you may have noticed that I have a tiny Bolzol here. That is the unit that you're supposed to protect because, as we all know, everybody's favorite missions in video games is the escort mission. But he doesn't really do anything. He has no skills. He does have a 6-star Bolzol talent, so he can randomly apply debuffs. Most of the time it's not that useful, but sometimes he'll apply heal block onto Luna, which is really nice because Luna came with reinforcements. So you don't want to heal block her as much as you can when you actually decide to start killing her. This is also why I bought Sword Dance on Matthew instead of his faction buff like I often do. When Luna is going to get low on HP, I'm going to make sure to Sword Dance her so that I can maybe try to kill her within the next turn. So I use Melania, who has a Goddess Left Hand. Oh, I can start working on Luna here. And since her HP is a bit low, I'm going to Sword Dance. So since she won't be able to heal this turn, I should be able to take her out next turn. And the enemy Leyden is actually getting pretty low on HP as well, which is nice for me because I'm running the turn counter is getting kind of high now. Okay. Lock him down. That's left hand. Hopefully, this will take her out. Notably, that buff that McAvoy gives himself when you kill somebody, it actually can be buff blocked, but buff block isn't really available very readily to SR and below units. I do have Deadeye, which does apply buff block, but it would, I'm not gonna waste my time casting it on him. So now that I've killed all the enemies on the bottom at least once, I'm gonna have to join up with Hind up top there, and get rid of and start killing the remaining 3 bosses. As I said, the objective on this map is to kill every single boss at least once. Although Hind's kind of in a bad position here, so I think I'm gonna have to end turn. I'm gonna have to meet up with him now. So this is actually the second time I'm recording this stupid map because the first time I tried recording, the recording broke, and I was very sad because this is such a long fight. And it's so tedious to do this map over and over. Okay. Thankfully, I survived there. Almost died. It would have been pretty annoying to have to restart the map. Right. So they don't have a lot of avenues to heal themselves, aside from Luna, who heals every turn. So getting rid of their soldiers actually does sort of permanently reduce the amount of damage they're going to do to your tank. So McAvoy still has like 3 range because I pissed him off earlier by killing all his allies. Alright, so there's the Elven kill. So when I mentioned using normal Hein in an attempt to do this map, the problem with normal Hein is that if you bring Hein's 3C, so then you would have to take the 2C slot would have to be teleport. And the 1C slot would probably be something like Fireball. So at that point, you would have a 3C that is significantly weaker than the SP Hein's 3C. And you wouldn't even have a second AoE to help augment that like SP Hein does. So the difference between SP Hein and normal Hein is actually really, really big. So I managed to take out Luna a second time here. Of course, Narm is the best fly swatter in the game. So I did bring Scepter of Divinity on Hein. This allows me to actually safely attack Sherry. Because Sherry has 3 move and 2 attack range, so even when Ultimate Magister is up, she's still going to be able to move 1 and attack 2 range, so if I attack from 3 range, I would still be in danger, so the Scepter of Divinity is actually very helpful here. So everybody's just gonna have to run up, and Norm's gonna take a couple pot shots while she's at it, just because she's bored. Norm is also going to be very important in the final part of this battle here, because I want to be able to lock them down so that I can dogpile them much easier. By locking down Geyer especially, I will be able to use a bunch of 2-range attacks on him completely safely, because when Ultimate Magister is up, he still has 1 move. So you want Narm's talent to be able to get them move -3, which just completely locks them in place. So that allows me to just pelt them with attacks from 2 range over and over until they die, and I don't really have to worry about anything. The Elwyn, like I said, kills you instantly if you attack him, and if he reaches you, he will also kill you instantly, but he only has 1 move, so if you give him any kind of Moby down, he actually just can't do anything. Unless you just deliberately stand next to him. Okay, we're at the home stretch of this map. Yeah, this map is kind of boring, honestly. It is very annoying to get a nice recording of it, where I don't use my Clock of Forgiveness now. Because a lot of things can actually go wrong on this map, especially with Egbert at the start. So since I have Hein meeting up with the rest of the team now, the guard from Layden and McAvoy just isn't going to matter anymore, because I can just put Ultimate Magister up. And that should keep all of them locked in place pretty easily. Alright, so I need to be careful of Sherry as well, because Sherry has Shadow Raid. So she will pierce guard, but I can take advantage of the AI here, since Grineer is also a melee unit. So since Grineer is actually the closest melee unit, she's just going to use Shadow Raid on Grineer himself instead of using it on Matthew or something, which would probably just instantly kill him. Make sure to cast Gospel on him so he doesn't get stunned. Okay, so I can use Ultimate Magister now, and that should lock all these guys down pretty good. And the only thing left is to beat the crap out of Geyer and Sherry. We can be done with this map. So this map was actually, in some ways, actually harder than the final challenge. So I'm glad it's over finally. So let's just kill Geyer here. Since Sherry already used her Shadow Raid, I can safely normal attack her with Matthew. And it won't really be dangerous. Why don't we get Bozo to join in here as well? So Sherry responds, but it doesn't matter. He's probably not going to be able to reach me before I finish this map. It's Thunder. I really don't understand why they gave Nair all those lives. But, it seems kind of excessive, but whatever. It's finally over. Thanks for watching, guys.